Hello, today I'd like to show you how to make new payment terms within Odoo 17. So to get started, we're going to go to Accounting, go to Configuration, and then click up here under Invoicing on Payment Terms. These are the payment terms that Odoo comes with standard, and there are a couple different approaches that we're going to cover today. So I'll start with the simpler ones like your net 15, net 30, or immediate payment. Just to familiarize you with the screen, here we have the name of the payment term. We have the company that the payment term applies to if you're set up in a multi-company instance of Odoo. The early discount boolean, which we'll come to later. And then we have two columns, the due terms and the preview. So here in my due terms for immediate payment, we have a pretty easy to read line. 100% of the balance of my invoice is going to be due 0 days after the invoice date. So that just means on my invoice date, as you can see here in the preview column, if my invoice is dated April 9th, 2025, then I will expect the customer to have pay the entire balance that will be due on April 9th. Similarly, we'll come down here to the standard net 30, and you can see here 100% of the balance is due 30 days after the invoice date. In my example, it makes it clear that if I have a $1,000 invoice that I issue on April 9th with 30-day payment terms, then I expect for there to be one installment of $1,000 due on May 9th, 2025. So now let's talk about some more complex setups. We have here end of following month. So if I click on days after an end of next month here, you'll see that Odoo offers us a couple of options. So we can choose to set our due date based on days after the invoice date, days after the end of the month, or days after the end of next month if we want to give those terms to our customers. So you can see here if I issue a invoice with these terms in April, at any point in April, the balance will be due the end of May. Let's go back out and see one with installments on it. So you can see in the due terms, I now have two lines here where I specify that 30% is due on the invoice date, and then the rest of the balance is due 60 days after the invoice date. You can see here in the preview column that we now specify two different installments, one of $300 that's due on the day that we issue the invoice on April 9th, and then another with the 70% of the balance is due 2 months after that. Or sorry, 60 days after that, I should be specific. Last, we'll come here and cover the 2.7 net 30. That will show us how to use this early discount checkbox here. So if this is enabled, what this means is that if my customer pays their invoice within 7 days, we give them a 2% discount, and with the setting in this reduced tax drop down here, we reduce the amount of tax that we collect on their behalf as well. So you can see that the due terms looks like our standard net 30, where 100% of the balance of the bill is due 30 days after the invoice is issued. However, because of this early discount, if they pay within 7 days, they'll only owe us $980. So in order to apply these payment terms, there are a couple places where we could go. If you know that you want to extend these payment terms to a specific customer all the time, then you can set that on the customer. So we'll show you how to do that. We'll go to Contacts, choose a customer. Then here on the Sales and Purchase tab, you'll see there's a Payment Terms dropdown. I've set up this customer so that they always get the 2%, 7, net 30 payment terms that we just discussed. This is where I set up my payment terms on a sale. I can also set up payment terms that I have with a vendor here under the Purchase section. I can also set up payment terms individually on a sales order or a purchase order. So if you go into a sales order here and create a new one, you can see up here in the header, I have payment terms that I can specify. Just to show you what happens whenever we sell something to a customer with payment terms, You can see since I already set up payment terms on that customer, those automatically fill in when I select the customer on a sales order. I'll add a cabinet here and price it at $100. I'll get rid of the tax just so it's clear what we're doing. And then confirm. We deliver this. Now that it's delivered, I have an invoiceable line, so I'll create my invoice, a regular invoice. And you can see the invoice is for $100. So I'll confirm it. If I go ahead and register payment, you can see that Abigail is getting her early payment discount of $2 since it is within 7 days of the invoice date. So now, if I create that payment, you can see paid on April 9th, you have $100. If you click the I here and go into the payment, you'll see that you've received $98. If I go to the journal entry, you can see that $98 is moving from accounts receivable to outstanding receipts, and then we have $2 written off to the cash discount loss account. So Odoo automatically does all of that reconciliation for you. Okay, that's all we have about payment terms. So please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.